All right, we'll start with the identification tag on the side. Here you'll find the manufacturer, date it was manufactured, tire sizes and pressures, and some weights. There's a tire chart to the left. To the right, you have water weights, also your VIN number, and cargo weights in yellow. Up front, behind your propane tank, is your battery. These batteries aren't maintenance free. You may have to add water to them at some point. If you're not going to be using your unit for a bit, I would disconnect it. There is a power drain coming from your carbon monoxide detector and stereo. And for winter storage, I would put it somewhere warm for winter. 220-pound propane tanks. Selector in the middle. The arrow points to which tank is going to be feeding. Up front is your power jack. The red button's for the light. And then you have up and down. The rubber plug comes out, and there is a little crank that you can use for to bring it up and down manually if you don't have power. Your breakaway here. One thing to remember, if that key gets pulled out, it does activate the brakes when the battery's hooked up. So if it is left like that for an extended period of time, it can do damage to your brakes. So just kind of keep an eye, make sure the key stays in. The little plug next to it is for a solar panel. If you ever decide that you want to put a solar panel on, that's where it would plug in. A little light up front. And your little cubby hole up front here, this is the jack for your power jack if you needed to manually crank it. And this is the crank for your stabilizer jacks. And there's one on each corner of the unit. Stabilizer jack there. Underneath your slide, you'll see there's two arms. Just kind of keep an eye, make sure those stay clean. Everything should work smoothly for you. And behind your slide, you have your shower, hot and cold. Above that is your black tank flush. If you're going to be flushing your black tank, just make sure that your valve is open. If you don't open your valve, it just fills up your tank and you could have a mess. City water connection there. If you're at the campground and you have water supplied right at your campsite, just put your garden hose into there. Your sewer is here. These are two little low points. The only time you really have to do anything with these, after you winterize, you can open these up and it'll drain the last little bit of water out of your system. And the valves are labeled gray and black, which is over that side. Another rear stabilizer jack. Your sewer hose is in your bumper there. You have a spare tire mounted at the back. You have your 30 amp plug in here. Hot water heater. These are propane and 110 electric. All the controls are on the inside. So the only thing you really need to know back here is this plug here and goes into the drain. And very important when you're winterizing to make sure your hot water heater is drained. At the back, you'll see there's a mount for a backup camera. These units are pre-wired for them. If you do decide to put one on in the future, they're very easy to hook up. This unit doesn't have a ladder on it, but I do recommend that you go up on your roof and inspect it once a year just to make sure you don't have any rips or tears or crack sealant. Your stabilizer jack there. You have an outside kitchen with a little fridge, grill, stove, and sink. Your propane hose is here, and it hooks up underneath to here, and underneath there's a quick coupler with a valve here. You have a power awning with speakers in it. Vent for your fridge. All the controls are on the inside, so you don't need to go in there. The intake and exhaust for your furnace. Don't store anything in front of that. It'll be very hot and melt. On your wheels, these little rubber caps pull out, and there's grease nipples in behind, so you can grease your bearings, which I would recommend doing once a year. Just a couple shots of grease would be great. If you are putting on a lot of miles, I do recommend a repack though. Your water fill for your fresh water here, and then below that it says low point, and that's your water drain. Satellite output. If you're going to be putting a TV outside, this is where you hook up your TV, and then there's a power outlet right next to it. Your entrance door here, and then your front cubby back up to the front here. So we'll head inside.